লোকে বলে বাঙালির ব্যবসা হয় না। Wanted to make it a point that বাঙালি ব্যবসা করায়. I want Kolkata to resound in London, in Bangalore, in Gurgaon, everywhere. They should say Kolkata. That should mean business. If Ratan Tata said, would be possible. Yes, but you're not Ratan Tata. Okay, fine. What would make it possible? You set goals, but you also understand man proposes, God disposes.
Hello everyone, welcome back to The Next Move. I'm your host Amit Mishra and today we have an amazing guest, Mr. Avelo Roy. He is one of the mentors I'm very lucky to have. Avelo is not only a tech entrepreneur and an investor, he is also a TEDx speaker and a spiritual guide for many of us. So, join hands together to welcome Mr. Avelo Roy. Hello sir, thank
Hi.
you for taking time for our podcast. Thank you for coming. How are you doing?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. So, sir, I had a question with next move. हम लोग एक ecosystem बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं for our young students that एक platform हो for all the entrepreneurs from Bengal who can come and share their journey, and we can create a roadmap for these young people how to navigate in their career. But when I go to these startup events and a lot of these places, I see a very common pattern. Most of these entrepreneurs are actually coming from Marwari families. Like if I even take few names is like Shuasara from 𝐷 and we have Sagar Daryani from 𝐽𝐤𝐺𝐤. So what do you think historically कौन सी ऐसी चीजें हैं जो बंगाली families को रोक के रखा to get into entrepreneurship?
Okay, I have to be politically correct. But the thing is, Bengalis by nature are entrepreneurial. It's just the last 100 years have been a little difficult for us, where after the British regime, the communist regime, and different kinds of governments that find that if we are subjugated, it's easier to rule on us. And that's how they have morphed Bengal into this bhat ghum, lazy Bengali brand that we have today, right? Now, point is, if you look at a country or a place that used to be called Sonar Bangla, which was filled with riches, entrepreneurial spirit, businesses. We were exporting to Rome 1500 years ago. We were exporting all over India. We're doing so much business from here, from Vidyasagar to APC to PC Roy to Devendranath Thakur, Dwarkanath Thakur. There's so many of these entrepreneurs, even during the British regime, were making billions of dollars, not millions, billions of dollars back in those days. But what happened is, when you go through poverty, when you go through famine, when you go through subjugation, people become cautious. And when you're cautious, you're like, I went through that. I don't want my children to go through that again. Hence, you see the Bengali parents, the grandparents always saying, chakri koro, babsha na. Because babsha is more risky. We can't afford to take risk.
Yes.
Today it's changing. Today we are third or fourth generation after independence. The roti kapra makan problem has been solved. The Maslow's hierarchy is now slowly moving on the higher level and the higher level and the higher level, even for Bengalis. And as Kolkata Ventures, we have, helped 550 plus businesses, generate revenue from zero. And most of them are not from Kolkata. They're from Ranaghat, from Shiliguri, from Darjeeling, from different parts of Bengal that you would not expect people to actually be entrepreneurial, but they have the bigger hunger. They are looking at podcasts, they are looking at YouTube, they have their data on their phone, and they are learning, they're doing, and they're going from zero to revenue, in a matter of months, and revenue to the first crore in a matter of years. And that's happening in Bengal. Regardless of the branding we have and the government we have or whatever we have, entrepreneurs are doing their job. So it is changing.
Even actually, like post-independence, actually Bengal was the capital of the British Empire. So a lot of entrepreneurs were from there. But right now, Kolkata Ventures is one of that key elements which is bringing change in this whole ecosystem and pushing Bengali entrepreneurs ahead. Then I have you come from a very Bengali family, but you moved to US. And there is also one more thing in your bio that mentions that you became a millionaire at the age of 22. So how that happened? If you'd like to shed some lights on this, what business you were in?
Sure. So basically, I come from a family of generations of politicians.
Okay.
My mother said, politics ends with me. You're not getting into politics.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, there are two ways to solve problems, with power or money. So I was like, if it's not politics, then it's entrepreneurship. And that's when I chose to choose US as my, because IITs and all I had heard, there's a lot of ragging and this, that. So I purposely forgot to take the IIT exam. And I took my SATs and everything, went to US, and I chose Chicago because I used to be inspired by Swami Vivekananda, as a kid. So went to Chicago, started my journey as an engineer because I'm a Bengali, I have to do engineering. But I was constantly having an eye on the entrepreneurship club and the e-cells or things like that. And eventually ran for election, won the election, and got to know all the best brains in our campus.
So this was student selection.
This is student election. Yeah. So my great-great-grandmother wrote the Constitution of India. I wrote the Constitution for a student senate.
So eventually, आप अपनी मम्मी का बात नहीं माने. You got into politics.
It's in my blood, what can I do, right? True. At least I got it out of the way. Now I'm not in politics anymore. But yeah, once I was in politics, I was known as a person, and that was my intention was when I build my business, I want the best brains to come work with me. So now I knew who are the best people on campus, the smartest people, the geniuses. So there was a business plan competition on our campus. I was drinking water. I still remember there was a poster for business plan competition. I just took out the whole poster. I was like, किसी को और देखना नहीं है. No one else should see it. I should just do it. Less competition. Went to my room, looked it up. It said you have to have 2 more people apply. You can't apply alone. So you have to form a team even before applying your idea. And a 1-page, 10 questions in 1 page. You have to give your idea, market, solution, whatnot. Did it. Won the 3rd place. Okay. But that was a time when...
First try only.
Well, yeah. And me and my co-founder, co-founders, we were like, wow, this is not expected. And here it starts. So we pushed the university because we had no resources. So we had something called iPro. Interprofessional projects. So like what we call life projects in India, it's kind of like that. We want to create an NPro, entrepreneurial interprofessional projects.
Okay.
So we told the university, make it a accredited, like a course, so that students can work for the credit. And we can get our work done. You gave us the word. Now you understand that our business has value. So you allow us to recruit students and pay them with credit. It took me 1 year to convince the university management, but because I was student leader, I had access. So I got that done. Once I got that done, now I knew the best students on campus. I formed a team of around 11 students. We did a lot of brainstorming. Initial idea was very stupid. Not stupid. It was ahead of its time. It's like what you have in video games, jackets, 4D technology. That gives you the feeling of like, bullets getting hit and all that. So I came up with this idea of hugging over the internet.
Hugging over the internet?
Yes. Okay. Which everybody thought was going to be online sex. But I didn't care. I was like, no, this is going to be amazing. But once we formed the team, we did market research. We found out Philips was already into it. $4 million into research, into tactile technology. And we were undergrad kids with no money. So we're like, okay, how do we take this concept and make it small? So the core value was connecting over the internet, those who are physically separated but emotionally together. My thing was I had to go to India to hug my mother, and spend a lot of money. What if I could do it virtually?
Do it from here
Virtual hugs, right? So we took that concept of physically separated, emotionally together, connecting with technology. And we came up with an underserved market, which was preteen girls. Aged 8 to 12. Everybody thought, okay, these guys are getting into pedophilia now. From online sex to pedophilia. But it was we found out it's a $170 billion market where a daughter can ask, daddy, buy me this or else I'll cry. And daddy will buy you whatever you want. Boys don't have that, girls do. So we focused on girls, came up with a necklace. A necklace with which you can add people in the real world and they become your friends on a social network. Right? So physical authentication. This was a time when MySpace was going down because of all the pedophilia, child attacks, abuses, 40-year-old trying to be an 11-year-old, pretending to be an 11-year-old and saying, meet me at the park and then abducting them and all that. So MySpace was going down, Facebook was coming up, laws around social media was being built. And here we are like, okay, below 13, it was not allowed to be on social media. So we said, for them, we're creating a social network with a necklace where you can add friends only in the real world with your necklace syncing face to face. And then once you're synced, you're online, no search feature. And you can interact with your necklaces in class. That boy is cute, the teacher is boring. With color-coded messages, you can interact with each other. So smart necklace. So think about Apple Watch, way before Apple Watch.
Way before Apple Watch.
Right? Wow. So that was a hit. So we called it Girl Pushed, Mom Approved.
Girl push, mom approved.
Yeah, because if mom tells you to buy it, it's not cool. That became a quick hit, and then we quickly sold that off. And as a byproduct, we came up with graphical password technology. So on your Android phones, the pattern lock that you use is rooted in that.
So you were into a bunch of businesses at that
I
time.
was into ideas.
Okay.
And one of them I made into a business, which was the necklace part. Because this was like I went to China, actually got it manufactured. Imagine a 20-year-old. Right? I started at 19, went to China at 20, raised money by 21, and I was watching the manufacturing happen, and the CEO of a 40,000 employee company personally coming to meet me because I was referred by Texas Instruments. Okay. So I got my mentors in America to get me the Chinese connect, and the connect was so high level, the CEO personally sent me a Mercedes limo to the airport. Right? And when I come in, he's like, "Where is Mr. Roy?" I'm like, "I'm Mr. Roy." He's like, "Oh, you're like my daughter's age." And he was so disappointed. But when he went to his office, I started questioning him, about quality control, about different things, certification. He's like, that's why Texas Instruments referred you. You're not a 20-year-old. You're much more than a 20-year-old. And I came to India for 3 days. By the time I went back, they had the prototypes ready. And I signed the contract, done deal, ready to. So this was the kind of exposure I got, when people are trying to pass their exams in college. I was bunking college left, right, and center and building my business. So point is, and then once we launched, we got bought out by one of the largest toy companies in the US, and we made a little bit of money. And from there, millionaire, whatever, and then from there, investing in other businesses. Our first investor was Sandbox Industries. So this was a great exposure. So once we got our first company done, now I knew how to go from zero to revenue in less than a month.
Okay.
First one, zero to revenue, took us 3 years. From college to graduation to fundraising to getting it done. Second one, 21 days. Like that, we started, investing, building businesses, 8 businesses, 3 exits, came back to India. And then I was like, acha. So I was in a business plan competition in one of the colleges here. And the co-panelists, the co-judges with me, were literally pulling the pants down of these, entrepreneurs. And I could understand. They're not from business families. They don't know how to pitch. They don't know damn thing about startup. And that time there was nothing. It's 2015, 2016, That very day, while sitting on the judging panel, I bought the domain KolkataVedges.com.
Okay.
And I was like, I got to do something about it. I got mentored by so many amazing people. That's why I'm where I am. I got to do this for these guys. So those kids who pitched, I told each one of them, you come to my house and I'll help you out. So loke bole Bengali ব্যবসা হয় না, right? But we wanted to make it a point that Bengali ব্যবসা করায়. Not only ব্যবসা করে, but they're also making others do business.
Amazing.
So that was the branding change of Kolkata that I wanted. Kolkata Wedges. My co-founder is an IIT gold medalist. He's like, sir, can we call it something else? Something more, not Kolkata, because people think...
More for global reach.
More for global reach. I said, no, I want Kolkata to resound in London, in Bangalore, in Gurgaon, and everywhere. They should say Kolkata. That should mean business. That's where the vision, was.
Now I want to ask is, you got mentored by really good people, really amazing people. Now you're giving it to people here in Kolkata. But what was the secret sauce? How you convinced these billionaires to actually mentor you? And if somebody wants to do that for themselves, how we can?
See, I'll tell you, I was very hungry and I would help people. Okay. So as a kid in college, you don't have much in terms of resources. What I would do is I'd bake cheese biscuits. Okay. Which was actually a method for survival for me. Before funding came in, we were making cheese biscuits to sustain ourselves. On weekends, we would sell cheese biscuits on the streets of Chicago. And weekdays, we would do technology business. So we would make some of those cheese biscuits and give it to these, people. And they would appreciate so much. They're like, whoa, you actually care. Like, you are so respectful. That's what mattered. So what a 5-minute mentorship session would turn into a 45-minute session. Because they saw that these are not time wasters. And then when we would actually apply that, we would write to them saying, you said this. We applied these 2 things. And we saw a massive difference. Thank you very much. And then they would call us and connect us to other people also. They'll be like, bhai, we say these things to so many people. No one actually applies it. You applied it, you saw the difference. That means you're serious.
Those people actually felt respected.
They felt respected, they felt heard, and they felt like it's good investing in these guys.
Amazing, sir. Like, I'm really actually trying to connect those dots because a lot of people, even if I take your name as well, you people have helped me a lot. Like, even you saying yes for this podcast is one of those generic things. Now, I want to get into a perspective of a 20-year-old, like someone like me, who wants to start a business, but उनका ना मन में एक सवाल होता है कि अभी नहीं, because I'm telling you with an experience. I was doing an internship few days back, और वहाँ पे my boss, he told me, if you want to do a business, do it right now, when you're young, when you're hungry, when you're very stupid, because कुछ सालों बाद when you'll be 25, तुम्हारी शादी हो जाएगी, कभी बच्चे हो जाएंगे, and एक बार EMIs का responsibility आ गया, so not only your life is at risk, 2 more lives are at risk. So what is your advice for young people? Should they take that risk at this young age? या फिर उनको थोड़ा ऐसे टाइम लेना चाहिए, एक बार सेटल होना चाहिए, पैसे थोड़े कमा लेने चाहिए now, because after few times what happens, थोड़ा experience भी gain होता है, and a lot of times we see VCs only fund the experienced ones. Right now, not a lot of young people are getting funded, जो mass level पे like 10 years back होता था. So what are your views for this in 2025?
See, I'll tell you, not everybody has the ingredients to be an entrepreneur.
Okay.
In fact, 99% of people don't. Right? Especially college students don't. Okay. Having said that, it is absolutely worthwhile to do an entrepreneurial project or a venture, even if you screw up, because you'll learn sales, marketing, recruiting, law, compliance, human skills, technical skills, all kinds of things. And if you get a job, you'll get a far better job than you would from internship. So absolutely worth pursuing it. Funding, not happening. I used to be the guy who always wanted to fund young college students because I am a student entrepreneur. I used to think the world is like me. I have lost money on student startups and I wouldn't go in that direction. Okay. But don't look for investment. Don't just build a business, damn it. Just sell something, make something, sell something, learn from it. There is so much you can do without any investment. Just by bootstrapping, you can have your B2B clients from LinkedIn, your B2C clients from Instagram and Facebook, and make money. Why beg here and there?
Why go into fundraising?
Do something simple that doesn't need fundraising. There are students in college who are just providing midnight breakfast. From midnight to 2 a.m., they're providing pizzas and samosas and they're making money.
There is also thing that you said, co-founders, it is very common. One needs to be builder, one needs to be the sales guy. But rather than these two domains, what are the qualities that you seek? Like one you spoke about understanding market. So what are different qualities like this that you think are the very necessary for someone to start a business?
First quality is the nature of I don't know, I want to know. True. That's called humility. Knowing that I don't know and having the eagerness that I want to know. And I'm not afraid to ask for help. If you're struggling alone and creating your own grave, those who are helping you are also going down with you. Rather say, I need help, right? And get the help you want. That's number one. Number two is jugaru. Rather than saying, I need this, without that I can't do. I have this only, with this only I'll make it happen. Somehow or other I'll beg, borrow, steal, I'll make it happen. The jugaru mindset.
So it's just not resources,
resourcefulness. The hacker mindset, right? Somehow or other I'll make it happen with whatever I have. Number three is little bit of understanding of what people want.
These are the very essential qualities that you saw in a business, in the founder particularly, and in business. Let's suppose someone who built the MVP of their business. Now they have few initial customers, let's say around 100, 150, and they want to get funding. So do you think this is the right stage? Or at what point someone even should? मतलब कब funding लेना चाहिए? Like what are the reasons for taking a funding?
So let's understand one thing. Most businesses don't need funding.
Okay.
Where do you need funding? Where you can't grow organically without an outsider. For example, if we were to build a Tesla today, we need to have a massive factory, robots, this, that. So definitely you need money, grant, funding, loans, everything. To build something manufacturing. One of our Kolkata Ventures incubated startups, InvestMet, they grew from 0 to 30 crores in a matter of 3 years, 200 employees, without any funding. Right? They never needed funding. Constantly bootstrapping all the way, no loans, no funding. The business sustained itself, and they have become the largest vernacular stock market teaching company. So not all businesses need funding. Like I talked about investment. There are many such businesses that have, without funding, have gone to crores and doing extremely well, and they don't need to go IPO. They're a closely held company and they're good. They're happy. Right? They're wealthy, they're happy, they've changed their entire generation, and wonderful things are happening in their lives. Now, there are companies that are that want to scale in different geographies. They want to expand. They want to hire a lot of people very quickly. They're worried about copycats. Right? Somebody will copy them and grow massively unless they grow. Those cases, you need an outside investor because you want to grow quickly, not on the basis of your company's revenue. And you want to grow to multiple geographies. You want to scale up and take over the market share, become a monopoly. That's where investors come in. If you have that kind of a business and you have proven, today is not 2016. Back in the days, you had an idea, you could get funded. Today, you have to show traction.
True.
So everybody looks for those initial signals. That is this, first of all, the founder, like I described. Then comes, is there enough traction? Are people using their product or service? Is there a need for this? And more importantly, is there going to be a growing need in the next 3 to 5 years? Will the market grow in its buying power? And will it be able to afford this? Is it recession proof?
One of the major key factors right now.
Right. You know, there's war, there was pandemic and all of the. So is it recession proof? So because you are investing your hard-earned taxable money into the business. So you want to make sure as much as possible the risks are mitigated. 95% of startups fail. Right? So 5% chance of winning. So you want to make sure your risks are as much reduced as possible. So these are some things you look into. If you as an entrepreneur see that, yes, I'm at that point where I've validated, people are coming naturally, month-on-month growth is happening. I am ready for geographies. I have the ability to hire people. The moment money comes in, I have people already signed up for my management team who will come on board as a CMO, CTO, CFO, whatever else, right? Then you have identified the path. You've identified what your next 18 months, how are you going to spend that money? If you're raising, let's say, 1 crore, 2 crores, 5 crores, do you know how to use it? Right? Do you have a plan for using it? Right? And that's the last slide of your pitch deck, is a use of funds. And when I see that use of funds, I look for how efficient the company is. Are they spending wildly on offices and operations? Or is the money going into marketing, sales, and acquiring customers? Now, again, depending on the company, if you're a hospital, if you're a traditional business, of course, operationally, you'll be inefficient. That's how it is. If you're a tech-enabled, scalable company, then you're going to be more efficient. And I'm looking for that. That are you going to pay off loans with my money? Are you going to buy out other founders with my money? Or are you going to actually invest that money into acquiring customers and growing the business, thereby growing my money?
Actually, this answer gave me another question, and I would ask both at the same time. First, we talked about the valuation. So how to define a valuation of a company? So nobody knows this. Every time I go even to pitching competition, people have randomly put, I need 25 lakhs. So my valuation is 5 crores. I need this much money. And the second thing that you have talked about, people investing after an investor has came, just like Tata. So does it happen a lot into angel investors के साथ होता है कि like there is a hot sector or there is a company जिसको like they are getting a lot of money, so investors are very excited, I want to invest in that company. So how this dynamics work?
Okay. Your first question was?
Valuation.
So valuation is anybody's imagination. Let's just put it that way. If you ask a CEO, they'll give CA. If you ask a CA, they'll give you a lot of different, this kind of valuation, that kind of valuation, and they don't mean anything, to be honest with you. Investor decides the valuation because he's putting in the money and he decides what the price is that he wants to buy the equity at, and that's what matters. Generally speaking, I can tell you what I do and many people do is we look at the revenue in the sales and we do a 5x to 7x or 10x of max 10x of that and say, okay, probably it's around that. Then we'll throw a term sheet And then the founder will go back saying, no, sir, it's worth more. And you don't want the founder to feel that he's getting looted or cheated. So you want to make him happy. So you'll, okay, theek hai, not that much, this much. You go back and forth for 2-3 months. And then you come to a valuation that both of you agree upon. Both of you feel confident about, right? It's not a formula that works. It's about people feeling comfortable where both sides feel this is fair. Especially if you're not a revenue generating company. If you're pre-revenue, then where's the valuation? It's a gut reaction. You have so much social media following, you have Priyanka Chopra endorsing you perhaps, or you have just board of advisors who are very big people, or you have a patent or something. These intangibles play a lot of role when you're pre-revenue. Post-revenue, money talks. Your 𝐷𝐸 talks, your daily active user, monthly active user on your app or website, that talks. But when you don't have those things, your intangible assets talk, right? But you have to build something, some branding, some valuation. If you don't have a valuation, your valuation is zero.
So you talked about term sheet. What are few clauses that are very founder friendly that needs to be included in term sheet so you can actually spill some truth that founders don't get cheated by investors?
So term sheet, it can be part of term sheet or not, but co-founders agreement.
Okay.
One of the things that startups fall apart is because co-founders fight. They can't work with you. One guy leaves and the whole company kind of falls, right? So co-founders agreement is one. Two is if one of them die, in the term sheet, who gets to buy the shares?
Okay.
Is it his wife or his mother or is one of the
Investors.
directors or investors, right? So things like that, there are small things that you need to be aware of because you need to foresee what might happen, right? In case of a buyout,
Okay.
who has the first right to refuse, right? I don't want to be bought out. I don't want IPO to happen. I want this to go on. Who has the first right of refusal? So things like that help you as a founder even after you get diluted below 51%, to have certain rights, or the investor to have certain rights that regardless of their position or shareholding, they can hold on to. That gives them a sense of security.
A very important thing that investors also want to know is exit strategy. What needs to be a perfect exit strategy for the investors and how founders should think about that? Should they always aim for the IPO? Or a lot of times I've even heard this, investors actually hesitate to invest on the companies where they say, I'm going to just sell this company to someone else because they feel this guy is not very serious about his company. So what should be a exit strategy or a few exit strategies that you want to share?
I come from an American perspective, so exit's very important to me. And people who are in Kolkata Ventures, I always tell them to have an exit slide. But in most Indian startups, don't actually talk about exit because they want the money. They don't care about the investor getting the money back. Because loan, they'll come after you. Investor money is what? Company goes down, money goes down. No one is coming after you.
Everybody just thinks like that कि investor का पैसा तो वापस थोड़ी करना है.
Exactly. But actually investor invests to get the money back. So when you talk about exit, you're telling the investor, I'm thinking for you. I care about your money. And so there are a few ways of doing it. There's acquisition, acqui-hire, there's mergers, there is IPO, there is SME IPO. There are a lot of ways. There are bigger investor buying out a smaller investor, right? Now that the entrepreneur has to think less, the investor actually thinks more about it. One of our invested companies, they're doing very well. They used to be hotel booking at the last minute, right? 9 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. If you're booking hotels, the hotels that have empty rooms, they will give it out to the startup for dirt cheap.
Okay.
Right. One of the investors happened to be a mentor of 𝐻𝐨𝐿 Sharma.
Okay.
He and 𝐻𝐨𝐿 Sharma were having coffee one day. And he said, Vijay, and that time Paytm was building all the verticals. So the hotel vertical, as they were building, he said, Vijay, there is a startup that we have invested in. Would you like to take a look at it? He said, sure. So next day, pitch happened. Within a week, acquisition happened.
Okay.
Paytm bought it out.
Wow.
In the newspapers, it came out $20 million. It was not $20 million, much less than that. But, so PR, don't trust PR. We all made money.
Okay.
But point is, that founder, he got paid in Paytm shares.
Okay.
And we all know what happened at the IPO.
So actually, this time someone actually got cheated on.
He got effed. But all the investors got cash.
This is, I remember a few years back when I was getting influenced with some philosophies. I was introduced to Stoicism, and this is exactly what it says. Like the Marcus Aurelius even says the same thing, that you can die at any moment. So you should just like, because at the end of the day, time is the only resource that we have. Anything can be gained back, but time cannot.
But it's also important to understand with Stoicism, since you brought that up, they are like, okay, we're going to die anyway. Why does anything matter?
Okay.
Bhagavad Gita is very different, where it's saying you have a purpose. You can die any moment. But that purpose is there. So might as well accomplish as much as you can for that purpose.
Any few principles from Bhagavad Gita, if you like, just give to all of us who can inculcate those principles in our life and live a better tomorrow. Like from today itself, they can start inculcating in their habits.
I'll give you a few. One is chapter 2, text 14. Matra sprashastu kauntya, shita ushna, sukha dukhada. Krishna is saying, as soon as your senses come in contact with the sense object, there are two outputs, sukha dukha, happiness or distress. It is just like changing seasons. Shita ushna, winter, summer, right? Day, night. So change is a reality. But in that reality, stay with what is constant. Krishna is saying, your relationship with me is constant. People will appreciate you when you're successful. They'll reject you when you're not successful. I will always hold on to your hand. I'm your best friend. Suhridam sarva bhuteshu. When you understand that your father, your real father, Krishna, he'll never let you go. He's the source of all sources. Then your inheritance is the entire universe. You're the richest kid out there.
True.
Right? All wealth, all intelligence, all power, everything is accessible to you. And that connection is called yoga. Bhakti yoga, Jnana yoga, Ashtanga yoga, Karma yoga. Yoga means to connect. So when you connect with the Supreme, even a stupid person like me can have access to whatever knowledge, intelligence is required, because Krishna promises it. He says, Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. This used to be the tagline for LIC.
Acha.
What it means is, I will carry what you lack. I will sustain what you have.
Wow.
You don't lose anything. Whatever you have, you have. I'll carry what you lack. Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. Vahami, I carry. Aham. So God is telling you that He is carrying what you lack if you connect with Him. That is the biggest strength. That's why you see all these Western entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg coming to India, Indian spirituality. Why? That's the advantage, the competitive advantage you have over common people, where you're stuck with your mental acumen, with your father's name, with your bank account. We are accessing something much larger than what you're born with.
Those was like some truth bombs that you have dropped in the end of this podcast series. But before we wrap up, a final message. How was your experience on this podcast? Did you like everything about this? Any feedback that you would like to give? A final message to all our young listeners who are out there listening to you, and I'm damn sure a lot of people are listening to you. So final message from your side.
Well, firstly, appreciation for you for being the kind of positive, high energy person that you are. What you told me, you are the same way. So I feel like our vibes match. That's why you see the energy, both of us. It's a mirror. For the listeners, the last thing I would say is never take no for an answer. Take a no to a maybe to a yes. That's what entrepreneurs do. This is not in contact with the man-woman relationship. I'm talking about business. Most cases, there are rules. You will be told, you can't do it. You say, if somebody who is out there, if Ratan Tata said, would be possible. Yes, but you're not Ratan Tata. Okay, fine. What would make it possible?
True.
What is that 1% leeway? And then figure out a way how to get through that, right? And that's your competitive advantage. When you're able to get the impossible possible, and it's always possible. There's always a VIP line. There's always a way to make things happen, right? So don't take no for an answer. Question it till you find a maybe. And then from maybe, coerce yourself into a yes without breaking rules or breaking the law.
Very important. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you for all the appreciation that you did. As we are wrapping up this podcast series, I would like to say from my heart, it was a very engaging conversation that we had with Mr. Avelo Roy. And these are one of those conversations that will stay with me forever. So if you like this video, do drop your likes and comment below the best part from this video. Plus, if you want to see more videos like this on our channel, do subscribe, and till then, keep learning, keep hustling.